Welcome to Golden Stories, where truth meets drama. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. The Maplewood Diner was alive with its usual morning rhythm: coffee brewing, forks clinking, and the faint hum of a jukebox struggling through an old blues song. In the back booth sat Mr. Harold Johnson, a 70-year-old black man with silver hair, neat suspenders, and the kind of quiet dignity that turned heads even without a word. He stirred his coffee slowly, savoring the peace of his morning ritual. The peace didn't last. The door creaked open, then slammed shut with a thud. Officer Rick Dalton swaggered in, his police boots pounding against the tile like war drums. His eyes scanned the room until they landed on Harold. A smirk twisted across his face. Without hesitation, Rick marched straight to Harold's booth. He didn't say hello. He didn't ask to sit. Instead, he grabbed Harold's steaming coffee cup, lifted it high, and poured the scalding liquid across the table. The hot spill ran over napkins, silverware, and finally dripped onto Harold's lap. Gasps spread through the diner. A couple in the corner watched wide-eyed. The waitress froze with a tray in her hand. Two men at the counter chuckled under their breath. Most others lowered their eyes, choosing silence over courage. Rick leaned down so close Harold could smell the bitterness of his breath. "What are you going to do about it, old man?" he sneered. His voice dripped with mockery, loud enough for the whole diner to hear. But Harold didn't raise his voice. He didn't lash out. Slowly, deliberately, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a battered old phone, and pressed one number. The diner held its breath. He lifted the phone to his ear and spoke calmly, almost softly. "It's me. I need you." Words hung in the air like smoke. "It's me. I need you." But the truth was, Harold hadn't needed to say much at all. He had already told his daughter where he was headed that morning, just like he always did. She knew this diner was his daily stop, his quiet ritual before the sun rose too high. If he didn't call, she would have known something was wrong anyway. Sliding the phone back into his pocket, Harold's hands were steady, his breathing calm, too calm for a man who had just been drenched in scalding coffee. Rick Dalton chuckled, shaking his head. "That's it? You calling somebody to come rescue you?" He straightened up, his chest puffed with arrogance. "Newsflash, old man. Nobody in this place is going to lift a finger for you." A few diners laughed nervously. At the counter, one man muttered, "Shouldn't have come here anyway." The waitress, eyes darting between Harold and the cop, whispered, "Rick, maybe that's enough." Rick snapped his fingers at her, silencing her mid-sentence. "Don't tell me what's enough. This is my town, my rules." He leaned back over Harold, eyes narrowing. "You people never learn, do you? You sit where you don't belong, act like you got rights you didn't earn. Somebody's got to remind you of your place." The room went still. Even those who'd been smirking moments ago shifted uncomfortably, though none dared intervene. But Harold, he just stared back, eyes steady, voice unshaken. "You've already said enough, son." Rick's smirk widened, though a flicker of irritation crossed his face. He straightened his uniform, clearly savoring the attention. And then, ding! The soft jingle of the diner's front bell cut through the silence. Heads turned toward the door. A figure stepped inside, heels clicking against the tiled floor with purpose. The presence was commanding, sharp, deliberate. Rick squinted, his grin faltering ever so slightly. The air shifted. Someone had arrived. The diner's doorbell jingled again, its soft chime cutting through the tension like a blade. Into the silence stepped a tall black woman in a fitted black federal suit. Her heels clicked against the tile floor with precision, each step echoing authority. She didn't scan the menu. She didn't hesitate. Her eyes went straight to the back booth, to him. Special Agent Maya Johnson. She already knew this was where her father spent his mornings. He told her often enough. His phone call hadn't been a cry for help. It had been a confirmation. And that was all she needed. Rick Dalton blinked, trying to shake off the unease creeping up his spine. "Well, well," he sneered, though his voice lacked the sharp edge from before. "What's this? FBI looking for a donut break?" Maya didn't flinch. She let her eyes sweep the room, the spilled coffee dripping from the table, the pale waitress frozen in place, the silent, guilty faces of the onlookers. And then, finally, she locked eyes with Harold. Her voice softened. "Dad." The diner seemed to collapse into silence. Forks slipped from hands. Conversations died mid-breath. Rick's jaw dropped. "Wait, your father? You're telling me this?" He jabbed a finger toward Harold, his face paling. This old man is your. Maya stepped forward, her presence towering though she barely raised her voice. Step away from my father. Her words weren't loud, but they landed heavier than any shout. The two federal agents who followed her in took position, hands resting on their holsters, their eyes trained on Rick. His smirk was gone now. Sweat gathered at his temples. The confidence that had dripped from him earlier was vanishing fast. The same diners who had smirked moments ago now lowered their eyes in shame. Rick's lips trembled as he muttered, This isn't what it looks like. But everyone in that diner knew exactly what it was. Dalton's voice cracked as he stumbled backward, trying to gather himself. His smirk was gone, his swagger crushed under the weight of the silence pressing in from every corner of the diner. Agent Maya Johnson didn't need to raise her voice. Her authority filled the room effortlessly. You think humiliating an old man earns you power? She asked, her words calm but razor sharp. You just humiliated a federal agent's father. Congratulations. Rick swallowed hard, his hands twitching nervously at his belt. The smug certainty that usually kept him untouchable in this small town was gone. He looked around for support. The waitress, the manager, the customers, but no one moved. The same people who smirked before now avoided his eyes. Harold Johnson straightened his suspenders, his dignity unbroken despite the coffee stains on his lap. Slowly, he stood. The room seemed to shift as Maya stepped to his side, her hand resting firmly on his shoulder. You see, Harold said quietly, his voice carrying more weight than Rick's shouting ever had. Respect isn't something you demand with a badge. It's something you earn by the way you treat people. The agents behind Maya moved in closer, their shadows swallowing Rick whole. Officer Dalton, Maya said coldly, hand over your weapon and your badge. Effective immediately, you're done. Gasps spread through the diner. Rick's face turned beet red as his trembling hands unclipped the badge from his chest. For the first time, he wasn't the one in control, and in that humiliating silence, Harold lifted his chin with pride while Maya stood tall beside him, not just as his daughter, but as his defender. The customers who once stayed silent now whispered among themselves, shame painted on their faces. The truth was undeniable. They had all witnessed injustice, and it took courage from just two people to turn the tide. As Rick was escorted out, Harold looked at Maya and smiled faintly. You didn't even need me to call, did you? Maya returned the smile. I already knew where you'd be, Dad. And with that, father and daughter walked out together, leaving the diner heavy with silence, regret, and the undeniable weight of justice served. Viewers, if you enjoyed this powerful story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Golden Stories for more.